All right, guys, what's going on? Today we're going to cover Burp Suite, the basics, okay? So hopefully you guys have been enjoying this junior pen testing path. Basically, just finished the web application path. I'm getting a little sick, so sorry about that, guys, if I get a drink and stuff during the video. But basically, we're now moving on. This is one of the tools that a lot of people use. It's Burp Suite. We're going to cover, I think there's 4 or 5 different boxes in it. This is the first set. If you guys are liking these, go ahead and like and subscribe. Hopefully you are. It helps out a ton. And let's get started. So basically, this is a question I get quite a bit is why I don't do videos on Burp Suite. And it's not that I've done some in the past, but I haven't done a full video like this. And this is why I didn't do it initially. Is because, like, for the same reason they're taking 5 boxes to cover it or something like that, is I didn't want to make a video that was 5 hours long. But this, I think they broke it up into good segments that we can cover in a timely manner, and I think it will help us out a lot. So, first things first, what is Burp Suite? So, it says here, that's what we're going to cover, an overview of the tool, installing it, navigating it, boom, boom, boom. Okay, so what is Burp Suite? Let's get to it. All right, so Burp Suite says here, put simply, it's a framework written in Java, aims to provide one-stop shop for web application pen testing. The biggest thing that people are using it for is a proxy that allows you to change requests. That's kind of the bread and butter of it, okay? So hopefully that makes sense. It's going to tell you here, and you guys, I expect you guys to read through this if you're doing the box, but it's going to tell you it's got 3 different versions. The Community Edition is what we're going to be looking at today, and you see that here, Community Edition. Community Edition is the free edition. There's Professional and there's Enterprise. There's a little bit of difference in between those two. Enterprise allows you to have continuous monitoring, where Professional is more for pen testing and stuff. But Professional, I believe it's like $400 or something a year per user for a license. But I have used Professional in the past, and it does have a lot more abilities. So keep that in mind. So which edition of Burp Suite will we be using in this module? It should be Burp Suite Community. All right, which edition of Burp Suite runs on a server and provides constant scanning? And that, like we said, is the Enterprise Edition. So that actually links to Nessus and lets you keep scanning continuously and helps out with that. So it's more for an enterprise environment, hence the name. All right, Burp Suite is frequently used when attacking web applications and what applications? And that's up here. They said it. Let's see. They have the exact sentence up here. So Burp Suite is frequently used when attacking web applications. And here's the hint, fill in the blank. Wow, thanks. Burp Suite is frequently used when attacking web applications and blank applications. I'm just looking for the wording they want. And they want mobile applications. This is what it looks like. Mobile applications are still web applications in my eyes, but for some reason task 1, I never clicked complete. Sorry about that. All right. So while its Burp's community has a relatively limited feature set compared to a Professional Edition, which is true, it still has a lot of tools that you can use, and I'll show you guys the main one today. Here's some of the main tools. The proxy, that's what I talked about earlier. It intercepts what your communication method is, and then it'll actually let you interact with it, meaning you can change the requests and stuff rather than having to basically change it and send it yourself. This will let you intercept it, is what it's called. That will basically stop it right at your proxy before it gets pushed on. Repeater, this is pretty easy. This is the same thing, except for it allows you to capture one packet. Let's say it's a GET request or whatever, and you can keep editing it and keep sending that exact same packet rather than having to resend it to re-edit it. Intruder, this is pretty basic, but again, with the Community Edition, it's not as good, but it says here, it even says, harshly rate limited, but it allows you to spray endpoints with requests for brute force and fuzz testing, but the problem is, again, it's very limited with the Community Edition. Decoder, pretty simple, but also, like it says here, valuable service. Basically what it's going to do is let you decode and encode payloads and packets and things. compare, exactly what the name suggests. It's going to compare two sets of data points for you, and you're able to obviously tell it what to. Sequencer, when it says right here, basically what you're looking for is the randomness of tokens. So what that means is, let's say your whatever company you work for, whenever you're doing a pen test, you notice that all the cookies and the sessions are, let's say your session ID is 1, the next session ID is 2, the next one's 3, the next one's 4, right? Well, if I find that pattern where you're just going 1, 2, 3, 4, well, I can pretty much assume the next session is going to be 5, right? So I can take that session because I will inject myself as number 5. So that's what Sequencer is doing. It's looking for a pattern for the sessions where most things are supposed to do random. There is no true random with certain computer algorithms because it can't be based on the algorithm itself. So, all right, which Burp Suite feature allows us to intercept requests between ourselves and the target? And that's going to be proxy. Which burp tool would we use if we wanted to brute force the login form? And if you remember right here, it showed us Intruder. And you guys will see all this. All right, so installation, if you guys are using the attack box, it's already installed for you. I'm not going to cover the installation because it's just like any installation on Linux or whatever. It's just the apt-get, typically. Then you can see here, once we verify the integrity of the download, you just run it, executable in Windows, or execute the script in Linux. So it's pretty much as simple as any other install. I'm not going to walk you through the install. The dashboard, I'm not going to walk through this either because we'll cover it. But what we'll do, this is what it looks like when you pull it up. And it shows you this next for some reason. I don't know why. I think next. Anyway, so this is what it looks like. It's going to ask you if you want a new project, temporary project, or open existing project. So you can save these projects if you're working on a pen test and it's, let's say it's a week long, right, or 2 weeks long or whatever. You can have this project saved and it'll be capturing that data so you can send it out later. I'm just doing a temporary project. We're not going to load from a file. We're just going to use the default. Boom, boom, boom. And we'll see it open up. Perfect. So here's the exact same thing they're showing you. So you have your dashboard here, and it tells you here, where is it at? Yeah, right down here. So here's your tasks, and you can see it says tasks. I mean, this is pretty much self-explanatory stuff, so I don't need to dive through too deep into this stuff. But the task menu, it basically allows you to run stuff in the background while this is running. So like if you, let's say you have one of the other editions and you have 50 tasks going, like scans and stuff, while you're actually working on a project, that's where these will be, your task. The event log, where's that at? Right here. It tells you obviously what it's capturing, what's going on. So what is Burp Suite doing, right? Then the issue activity section is exclusive to Burp Pro. So that's this here, and it says right there Pro version only. But basically it will give us the actual issue activity. So what it's going to do here, it's going to list the vulnerabilities found by the scanner. We don't even have the scanner version here, so not something we need to worry about. Then the advisory section gives more information about the vulnerabilities. So if I clicked on one, boom, information about it. Obviously, doesn't matter in this instance because we're not using that. Here it's telling you can go to the dashboard, and this one's saying the professional and the community edition. Doesn't matter. We're just going to do our regular, whoops, didn't click the task. We're going to do our regular free edition and use it for what a lot of people use it for, and we're not using this in enterprise, right? We're using this for our own usage. Here, again, it's just showing you some different things that you can do. Some Control-Shift-D is switch to the dashboard, T, target, blah, blah, blah. Basically, it's showing you shortcuts, okay? Pretty good to see, pretty easy, but you can also get like a cheat sheet. If you Google, you can see right here. So the reason I did this is it's one of the questions, and I don't want you guys to have to sit here and actually watch the research. I want you guys to see what we're physically doing, right? So here we go. So you can get a cheat sheet. You can pull up a cheat sheet pretty easy, and you can actually just have a cheat sheet of shortcuts while you're working or whatever if you don't use Burp Suite all the time. If you only use it once a month or once every couple of months or whatever, then you don't need to know how to do every single shortcut. All right, so before we start learning, let's take a look at the options. So it's going to tell you, you can see here, there's user options and there's project options. User options are global settings, meaning they stay persistent. So the options themselves, boom, all these options, they will stay persistent. Meaning, if I close this, open it back up, open a new project, they're still there. Project options are bound to this project. So we click temporary project. So as soon as that temporary project's done, these settings change. They go back to default. Okay, that's really the big thing. So it's saying here, in which project option subtab can you find reference to a cookie jar? And I haven't actually looked these up, so we got to find the actual. So this is project options. It's asking us in the project options subtab, you can find the reference to a cookie jar. So we're just looking here. We got to find a cookie jar, and my guess is sessions. There it is, cookie jar sessions. And these are all settings that you can walk through and mess with yourself. That's not the point of this specific one. It's to show you how Burp Suite works. The settings are to fine-tune your results, okay? In which user options tab can you change the Burp Suite update behavior? And we can see here connections, platform authentication, upstream, SOCKS, proxy. Let's go to miscellaneous, hotkeys, updates. So it's under miscellaneous. Sorry guys, I'm a little bit out of it. What is the name of the sections within the user options miscellaneous subtab, which allows you to change the Burp Suite keybinds? And I believe we already saw that, didn't we? Hotkeys. And this will allow you to make your own shortcuts if you wanted. Let's see if we have uploaded client slides. If we have uploaded client-side TLS certificate in the user options tab, can we override these on a project basis? So what it's asking here is if we actually put this, it says right here, these settings can be overridden by individual projects. So it should be A. So basically what it's asking is if we have this client-side TLS certs uploaded, can we actually override them with just project-specific ones rather than the global settings? All right. So here's introduction to Burp Proxy. So now this is going to give us an overview, kind of what it's going to look like, and then we're going to do it. So here it's saying if we make a request to tryhackme.com through the Burp Proxy, our request will be captured and won't be allowed to continue through the TryHackMe servers. And that's true. So see, it says intercept is on. So what's going to happen here is this is the packet that's going to be sent. It's a GET request. You can see host is tryhackme.com, blah, 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 whatever. Well, we could actually, with this on, we can edit this, tryhackme.com, and change it to tryhackme.org, right? And then hit enter, and it's actually going to change that request and send it to tryhackme.org. So anything we change here, we'll send it on. Now, I know some people might be like, what's the point of that, right? Well, what if you have a session or a cookie or something that you want to change? That's what we're trying to do. We're going to be able to change these packets. So that's really the goal. So here we don't need to follow along. We understand it. Here's what it's going to look like with all the requests, and you can click on them. This is not the intercept portion. This is the portion that's just logging everything you do. This here is just saying that basically Burp Suite it logs your request, your packets sent out, but it's not going to log the ones coming back in, because by default it doesn't do that. It only logs the ones you're sending out, because the point of the tool is to edit those typically, right? So there's not really much point to get the request or get the ones back in, because you're not going to edit that. It doesn't make any sense typically. Okay. So which button would we choose to send an intercepted request to the target in Burp Proxy? And that would be the forward. And you can see it here if we go to any of these. We don't have any packets in there, but it would be the forward. And then I already found the shortcut for you guys. It says assume, basically what would be the keybind to forward a packet for you, and it's Control F. All right, so this is kind of important because so when Burp Suite is running, excuse me, that's not all you need, right? You need the proxy set up on your actual browser. Now the reason for this is because right now, when I go google.com, right, it's gonna look at my DNS settings, find the IP address, and send it out, right? Well, we don't want it to do that. We want it to go to Burp Suite first. So there's this nice little tool called Foxy Proxy. If you guys haven't heard of it, it's a Firefox add-on. It's really nice. And you can see they already have it set up. But you can add different proxies here. So let's say I had a special VPN proxy that I went to every time, whatever. I went to a certain site, whatever. It doesn't matter. You could go here, boom, turn it on. And you can see here they already have it set up for Burp. So you click Burp, and that's it. Now, when I go to, let's just say yahoo.com, you notice it's just sitting there. It's not doing anything. But if you go here to the proxy, here's our request. It's sitting right here. Now, you notice, one thing you might notice here is it says google.com. Okay, so we forward it. Google.com, forward it. Forward it. There's yahoo.com. Now, if you guys aren't familiar with why, I say most because not everything, but most people use Google's DNS servers. Okay, so you're going to get a lot of requests to their DNS servers. And you can see it didn't actually go yet. Let's see. Still hasn't gone. You got to keep in mind too, every single thing you do is a packet, right? So it finally went to yahoo.com. All this stuff had to get popped up. And you can see it would get annoying if you were actually using the internet this way. If every time you went to a website you did this, right? It would get very annoying. And you could turn intercept off and just have it sit there in monitor mode and watch. But that's not what we want to do. So and you can see here, this shows you how to set up Foxy Proxy. If you have other ways you're setting up your proxy or changing your DNS or whatever it is you're doing to set it up, you can always do that manually. Foxy Proxy just is very nice because it allows you to do it and have multiple different proxy setups, okay? The option is in a drop-down submenu, okay. So what is it asking? Read through the options in the right-click menu, which I don't know where we're at here. So it says, congratulations. Oh, we got to access this homepage. We didn't access that. Okay. So this is the actual site that they have set up that we're using. And we'll go ahead and hit it. Go to it. You'll notice it will capture it. We'll forward this. This is just loading the pictures on Yahoo still. Haven't got past Yahoo. Jesus. Shouldn't have went to Yahoo first. Okay, there it is. Okay, whoops. I went one too far, but it's all right. All right, so we captured the packet. And it says here you can forward it or you can drop the request. So what I could do is if I went to the wrong place, I could drop it, right? There's other things you can do too. You could click action, which action actually would I don't know if it'll let me now. Okay, so we're going to have to refresh it. But basically what action will do will actually allow me to send it to different tools in Burp Suite. So if I went to action, I can actually send it to all these, which actually will allow us to do a little bit more to it. It's pretty neat. So it's asking us this option. There's a particularly useful option that allows you to intercept and modify the response to your request. To me, that would be send to repeater, but it looks like it's 4 different So it looks like it's copy as curl command. Nope, that's not what it is. Maybe there's a different one. So it says this, read through the options in the right click menu. All right, boom, boom, boom. Let's see. All right. I'm looking for one that's 4, like it says. Maybe I spelled it wrong. That's the only one I can think of. Nope. Response to this request. Maybe that's what it is. Yep, that's what it was. So it's saying this will allow us to modify it. So what I'll show you guys what I do when I'm modifying these. Bonus question, try installing Foxy Proxy, which we already did. All right. So typically what I do is I would send this to repeater or edit it right here and then forward it. You don't have to do that to edit it. I'm not sure. So like you can see, I can actually change it myself. I don't need to forward it on to edit it. That's what it was having us do. Not sure why it's saying this one particularly useful option that allows you to intercept and modify the response. Oh, okay, that's the response to your request. I misread it, guys. I'm sorry. Like I said, I'm out of it. I thought it was asking us to modify the packet. That's fine. Okay, so now it's telling us this is HTTP versus HTTPS. So what it's telling us here is great. You can now intercept HTTP. But if you tried to go, now this attack box is already set up for us, so I can't do it. But if you tried to go to like google.com, which is an HTTPS site, right, it would actually come up with this right here. Software is preventing Firefox from safely connecting because it doesn't have a trusted cert, right, for that site, because it's actually not accessing that site. It's actually accessing our proxy first. So what you would do is you would go on here and you would download Burp Suite's cert and add it to your trusted certs. And that's pretty easy if you guys have ever done any certificate authority type stuff. It's super easy. And then it will just, your computer will trust it. That's what they're saying. Okay. So I'm not going to walk you through that. If you guys want to do that, you can do it. We're already at 22 minutes. I'm trying to hurry up, but I'm kind of out of it today. So if the last few tasks seemed overly complex, rest assured this topic is a lot simpler. Okay. That wasn't complex, so we should be fine. The Burp Suite browser. So one thing to note. So this Burp Suite browser, if you go here, let's see, open browser, right? It has its own browser. It will, if you open it, it will open, instead of having to do the proxy with Firefox and all that, it will do it for you. Now, one thing to keep in mind though, if you create it with root, if you install Burp Suite as root, it won't have the same, you won't be able to do that. You won't be able to open the browser because it causes an issue with this right here, the sandbox option. You can turn the sandbox option off as it tells you, or you can create a new user that's non-privileged, meaning not an admin account, and then try to actually open up Burp Suite that way and it'll work. So keep that in mind and it tells you about it. All right, so scoping and targeting. This is probably one of the most important things about Burp Suite that you need to know. So here we go. So you can see in the target, we have a sitemap, right? This is everything we've done, everything we've gone to. So if you're on a pen test right now, you would have all their sites that you've gone to or accessed in any way, facet, whatever, okay? And you can see this is great. You know, oh, these are cool. Let's say, but you can see I've only gone to 2 or 3 sites and this is all popped up. So this would be a very, very long list, right? I don't want that. So what I'd do is I'd go to this, which is our site that they've given us, and we're going to say add that to the scope, okay? And then, yes, what this is we want to only stop sending out of scope items to the history. So what that means is we only want to log this IP or the scope IP. So anything in this scope. So I actually don't use the sitemap typically. I actually go in here and I'll add the IPs that I want. Now, That's only if I know the IPs, obviously. I'll add the IPs that I want. So now anything in the proxy that's not in this target scope, anything that's not in this IP, basically, it's not going to sit there and record them. It doesn't care about them anymore because I told it not to, right? So that's important that you guys know that, because if you go to sitemap after you've been doing, let's say, an hour's worth of work, you're going to probably have hundreds or thousands of these, right? And now you have to filter through them. Well, if you keep your scope here, and you keep only what you want in your scope, then you're fine. Now, if you have like boxes that you're using for a pen test on their network or something, then you could exclude those from the scope, meaning that you may touch them here and there, and it's fine. I don't want to record that. That type of stuff is very common. So here we go. So it says control of the scope may be the most useful to target by no means. Okay, so it's saying go to the sitemap, and it's telling me on here. So we're going to go ahead and turn off intercept. The only reason I'm turning that off is because I don't want to have to sit there and forward everything. And it's telling me to go here and click on everything with their site. Okay. Cool. I think that's all we had to click on, but we'll see. And then go here and go to target. Okay. And you can see here, this is all the stuff we've touched. Okay. Just by doing that. And it's mapping the site for us. Okay. And you can see here it's saying, take a look around, visit every page linked to from the home page, then check your sitemap. One endpoint should stand out as being very unusual. Okay, well, let's go back to it because I didn't click on this. I didn't click on that. I didn't click on what else is linked here. Submit a ticket. I didn't click on that, which I know we're going to use. All right, so just make sure we got the full sitemap, right? All right, so I think I just accidentally clicked on Metasploit. Hopefully not. All right, so, well, for one, apparently we just have the root. Let's see, products. Okay, cool. Contact, cool. Assets, about, ticket. Okay, so none of this is very hard. Visit this in your response, visit this in your browser, or use the response section of the sitemap entry for that endpoint. All right, so I don't know if it's this one, because this is definitely unusual. All right, so let's go ahead and copy the URL. Go back. And there's our flag. So you can see it actually found that just because it's talking to it. Now I really wish they would have made this a little bit easier of a flag because I have to type it out, but that's all right. But you can see how you can find a lot of directories and stuff through this sitemap that you wouldn't normally even know existed. Now there are tools that do this stuff for you. Keep that in mind, guys. Some people will say, oh, I use Dirbuster or GoBuster to map directories and stuff like that. That's great. There's nothing wrong with that. But this tool is a suite of tools, so you can do all of your web application pen testing using this tool is the purpose of it. It's a suite of tools. All right. What is the typical... Okay, look to the issue definition list. Okay, so let's go back. Dashboard. Okay. Look through the issue definition list. What is the typical severity of a vulnerable JavaScript dependency? And see if we can find that. I don't see that. Let's see. Okay, so look through the issue definitions list. Well, this is the issues. And it's asking me about JavaScript dependency. I'm not sure why it asks these type of questions, but whatever. What is the typical severity of a vulnerable JavaScript? Blah, 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 blah. Well, we'll say low. There you go. That's the answer. All right. Now here's the practical. This is what I wanted to get to. It just takes me a while to explain how these things work so that way you guys aren't missing actual information, okay? So first we're going to look at, so we're going to go back to proxy because we want to see it, okay? And we're going to look at this one, the ticket. So when you go back here to, I'm assuming it was, what was it? We're just going to go to ticket, okay. Okay, so here's what we're going to do first, right? So this is going to do, basically what we're going to do is a cross-site scripting attack here. And this is similar to what we've done in the past, what you guys have seen. The difference is that we're going to use Burp Suite to change the, so we're going to turn intercept on. We want to change it so that way it works. So let me show you what I mean by that. So here's the actual payload we're going to use, okay? Now, what we're going to do is we're going to try and type this into the contact email. No, that's not the, that's different. Okay, so we're going to try and do this. So we're going to say script. Well, you notice I can't even do that. Every time I type that in, it changes it. Okay, so right off the bat, I know that's not good. So now, let's do this. hacker@hacker.com. Okay, so we submit it, and you notice, oh, we got to fill this out. So we submit it, and you notice it's not doing anything. It's waiting. It's waiting. It's waiting. Okay, cool. Well, now, here's the actual packet. Well, we can just do this. We can change it. Because that was all they did was client side, meaning all they did is made sure I couldn't type it into that field, but I can change the packet after it's already submitted. So script, alert, and if you remember, when we did the cross-site scripting box, if you remember, they actually had us do this, basically this alert every time to show proof of concept, right? To show that it's actually going to work. So all we're saying is successful XSS, and then we're going to put it in parentheses, and we're going to say end script. Boom. Okay, so you can see here, this here should work for us, right? Now let's forward it. Now when we forward it, we go back to here, go back to the other one. All right, we got to forward it again, I guess. All right, well, we got a session for one. I can see that. All right, let me see this here. Get rid of that. I didn't know why that's still up, but whatever. All right. Forward. And there you go. So once we forward it, we could actually change it and do a successful cross-site scripting. So hopefully that makes sense to you guys. Basically what it is they have, yep, okay, this set up to where I can't type in certain characters. We can forward that packet, then go through, and actually change the packet itself with Burp Suite. Now, it's not going to make it that easy in real life. You can see here that one thing typically it's going to have you do, and I didn't even do it because we didn't need to, but it's going to have you URL encode it. Typically, I didn't even have to do it, but URL encoding is good because it will actually help out in a lot of instances. This one, it didn't require it, so that's perfect. So you can see here it says, okay, congratulations, you bypassed the filter, and that's what we did there. We bypassed the filter. No big deal. It was pretty simple, right? And that's pretty much what you're going to be using Burp Suite for as far as the basics. You're going to be messing around with packets and changing them and looking at different proxies and things. So what I want you guys to do, right, is find some packets. Do this on a legal site, so do it on either your own hosted site, or do it on a Try Hack Me box, but go to some of these action. So what I do is send to repeater. You don't have to do this, and this tool will let you actually change whatever you want it to change. And then when you send it, it'll show you the response here. And then you can try something else, send it, get the response here. So it'll let you directly see what's going on. That's what I want you guys to do. Hopefully that made sense to you guys. This box really is 35 minutes of trying to explain to you, as far as the actual what they're teaching you, is trying to explain to you the dashboards, okay? I don't think you'll learn it that way by just looking at them. I think you'll have to go in and mess with it. Try and click on some stuff, try and figure stuff out. I think that's the way most people learn. I think that's the way you guys should do it. But do this box anyway and keep trying to do that same cross-site scripting attack. But I want you guys to actually do it with intercept and repeating and stuff like that. I want you guys to first do it the way we did it, then do it with the repeater and look at the response and things like that, because I want you guys to understand how to use the tool before we move on to the next boxes. All right, guys? If you guys liked it, hopefully you did. Make sure you like, subscribe, all that jazz. I'm sorry I've kind of been out of it, guys. I noticed myself drifting sometimes in there. I'm just haven't been feeling very good. Hopefully you guys learned something. Hopefully I made sense. So thanks, guys.